Alright, alright. Ooh, just in time. What is this fancy stuff? Proxy hatchery. There's no spawning pool behind this for RAGNAROK. He is just gonna try to blockade that area, I suppose. I don't really see a way to effectively get aggressive off of this, unless if he wants to build spine crawlers there with a bunch of drones going over. I don't think that's going to be the case, right? There is an overlord kind of stopping in the middle of the map, another sign that he's not really tempted to go aggressive with this, I would say, right? Otherwise you would want to have that overlord here and get him up in front so you can start poking the wall, but no, he's just gonna go for a expansion, it looks like. This hatchery on the other side, just there to delay Mr. Time. Time does know about this, and he will be making the command center on the high ground instead, hoping to have a bit of safety there for the time being. It doesn't really seem like he's over preparing or anything else. He's just kind of letting that hatchery be built, and that's probably the right call for him here, as we've sorted out before that there's not really that much aggression possible out of RAGNAROK behind this. I do see 8 Zerglings. 8 Zerglings, they're not going to be a match for that bunker there with a couple of Marines inside. They're not going to get there before that bunker is done, nor before those Marines are done. Because, oh, wait a moment, the Zerglings were spawning here. Hold on. Nah, I should be right. No further Zerglings coming in. There's the 6 Zerglings here. There's only the 2 Zerglings. I guess that is a really good call. Being able to get that sorted. There is a lot of Zerglings being produced right now. There is a lot of Zerglings being produced. There is a scary amount of Zerglings being produced. And in all honesty, is this going to be okay? I'm not even sure anymore. I just didn't expect this to happen without any banelings, without anything else. It's just Zerglings. Is this going to work? I struggle to see it work. Killed off a good amount of the Marines there and the bunker, which I already thought it would struggle with, but that's all it's going to be able to achieve for the time being. Now there's a wall, you don't have banelings, you don't have much anything else. But I suppose he has his expansion, he does have 24 workers. He's got a bit of a contain here on Mr. Time. Time could float over his command center to the 3rd base location as well, if he really desires to get that going before the creep spread is fully taken care of. But until then, he's going to have to deal with the Zerglings here, which he's doing quite nicely, quite efficiently. Be careful here, that Queen's still poking at war. The Zerglings are dealt with, and the Marines reign supreme for the time being. Couple of creep tumors trying to make it even more of a delay here, of course, for Time to get that 2nd base going. Can be rather frustrating, but has it helped out RAGNAROK enough here? He's 10 workers ahead on the worker count. He is already setting up his 3rd base. He's still making more Zerglings here as well. This is a very aggressive way to play from RAGNAROK. Yeah, it still kind of seems like an approach he's making with macro in mind. How many Zerglings? Already 24 have been created and killed. 16 are still on the map. Now, you will need more than 16 Zerglings to beat 15 Marines. So perhaps this is where we are going to slow things down, or perhaps this is where we're going to get the Baling Nest involved finally. Either is fine. Factory coming up as well. The triple racks here from Time definitely allowed him to get those Marine numbers up high and quick. Overlord's a little bit out of position. Might get sniped. No, does avoid that fate. So we have the Terran units starting to assemble across the map. Time may get swamped here by the amount of Zerglings. In fact, I wouldn't be too upset if he just scans ahead, sees what's there, realizes, oh my goodness, that's a lot of Zerglings. None of that is happening here, no sir. He's just going to get surrounded by only a mere half of the amount of Zerglings that are available. The other half are across the map already with the Bailing morph happening. And that move out there from Time, it kind of shows that he's just not quite sure what to do in this situation, what to make of the situation, and I don't blame him. It has been quite a strange one. It feels a little bit like a way that our Ukrainian Zerg would be making plays happen here. Certain aggressive Ukrainian Zerg we all know, but hey, I mean, it works. It works. You get the W. That is a victory, no matter what. That second base for Time once again getting denied. The engineering bay wasn't that far along with the +1 attack, but it's still a cancel. So still more trouble for Time here when RAGNAROK behind this already on 3 days, still making some drones now and again, and it's really cool to see this kind of play from RAGNAROK, where it kind of reminds me of Stefano in a way as well, where he doesn't necessarily do the Zerg thing, where either you go for drones or you go for attacking units. It's a bit of a mix. Couple of Zerglings, couple of drones, couple of Zerglings, couple of drones. And, well, I'm used to saying that's not going to work. You're not going to get a lot of work done across the map because, well, you're doing everything kind of half, right? You're trying to do everything at the same time, and usually that doesn't work out. But RAGNAROK here, making it look rather easy. Making it look like there's not much of a trouble. To medevacs now into the main base again. Not much to be achieved. You will, however, definitely require to just keep trading with those Zerglings and Banelings. Try to be as efficient as possible. Because I'm not sure what else you could do here as a Terran. Right, a regular macro game, sitting back, waiting for the Zerg to take the rest of the map, as he's already in a quite a demanding lead here. It's not gonna work. He's on 61 workers versus 25. It's ridiculous. That's 40 extra workers he's working with. Army supply is still relatively close together. So maybe there's something to do here for Time, but oh man, it's still a scary position. RAGNAROK also, you know, making that army come to life truly now. Bailing speed, not quite ready yet. He can afford to just drop this base. There's no problem with that whatsoever. It's going to be a while before Time manages to push out further, past all that creep, and have his siege tanks repositioned. Now, doesn't seem to be the case that RAGNAROK even wants to let that base fall. He's going to crush this right here, right now. As long as the Bailings actually get on top of those Marines. Otherwise, this could still get a little bit problematic. And most of the Banelings are going to get gunned down. And I think RAGNAROK just may have bitten off more than he could chew. And this could potentially cost him the game still. Oh my, that would be a horrendous way to lose this. But no, okay, his reinforcements just barely enough still to keep everything safe. Almost capitulated there. That was close. That was close. But yeah, with that now, Time definitely knows. We all know there's not going to be a victory here for him in the cards. So he taps out. GG. RAGNAROK takes game number 1. Do we? All right. Anyway, with that out of the way, with all you guys now preoccupied with a terrible mind puzzle, I just subjected you all to. In the bottom left side, the blue Zerg fighting for Alpha X. He is kicking some behind right now. That was a wonderful game. Let's see how he does. Game number 2, RAGNAROK. From Alpha X. Did I say Alpha X? I don't know. In the top right side, the Chinese Red Terran fighting for Kaisi Gaming. It is one hell of a monstrosity himself. It is Time. Gotta be careful. I do wonder, with all those laws in China now about, like, playing video games and only being allowed to have a certain amount of time playing those video games. It's got to be a very tough thing to be a pro player in a region such as China. I need to get some water here, actually. I've been talking too much. And I haven't drank any water. Oh dear, my water bottle is not in here. Where did I leave it? Oh, right, it's in this bag. Hold on. My throat is tickling. My throat is tickling. We're watching an Overlord. There's not much happening. Get her up. Alright, I'm back. It's not that far away, is it? Overlord made it across the map here. No proxy hatcheries. The expansion's both on location this time around. As the SCV is being chased out of the natural base as well. There we go. The Zerg natural base, of course. We did have a spawning pool first, out of Ragnarok still. So there is still a little bit of a question on Time's mind, perhaps, about what he's about to be subjected to himself. And it's a little bit difficult, of course, really figuring this out, because you can't really send the Reaper across the map. Not when it's spawning pool first, right? Because especially if you're making your command center on the low ground here, it's just open season for those Zerglings to run in, cause all of this to be delayed, and it's going to be terrible. The Reaper's going to desperately try to get back home, and it's just bad. So Ragnarok was in a position here to kind of do what he wanted, without Time really having a good eye on it. It seems like Ragnarok has opted to just kind of go along the macro route for the time being, but we do see a Reaper, a Roach Warren being constructed. I almost called it a Reaper nest. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. But yeah, the Roach Warren here could lead into quite a bit of aggression out of Ragnarok. I imagine it would be. He is well known for kind of getting aggressive with those Roaches and those Zerglings in timings that aren't that commonly used. Ragnarok, the king of trying to figure out when can I kill my opponent. Is it now? I think so. Let's go. It's a long title. Excuse me. It's a long title, but it's pretty accurate sometimes. Sometimes it's accurate. Let's see what we got as a defense for the time being. It's not that much, is it? A couple of Hellions and the Marines. Mr. Time going for that third command center might be something he's regretting right now. No siege tank whatsoever available. The Marines on the high ground though, with the SCV buffer, are doing a good job. And the Hellion, well, they're not getting a lot of splash damage, but two Roaches there were lined up. The rest of the Roaches were perfectly lined up as well. That's a Marauder here. 5 SCVs do get slain. That's all these Roaches really are going to be able to get done. Bit of interference with the mining on the natural base, but nothing that Time shouldn't be able to recover from. Although, be it, the overall work account, again, starting to tip into Ragnarok's favor. I don't know if it's as much as it was the previous game. Seeing the previous game, Time still almost killing Ragnarok with the counter-attack. Ragnarok over-committing on the defense a little bit. Almost still getting himself killed there. Might be something similar here, but no, he has more than enough this time around. Reinforcements coming in as well. A couple of Zerglings. More Roaches on that production tab across the map. We're still looking. The first siege tank in production at the moment. Could still be a surprise opportunity to break the camel's back across the map if he does manage to deal with this drop in a proper fashion. It is dealt with right now. Is he going to go across the map again? That's kind of what's on my mind. He's got the 11 roaches, but is he mad enough to now just go for it, right? I just don't know anymore. Normally I'd say, no, he's just going to sit back. He's going to macro up from here. There's no need to get super aggressive. You're perfectly fine, but with Ragnarok, it's just always a question on my mind. Is he going for an attack? He could be. That's always the answer. More roaches, +1/+1. Roach speed coming up as well. It's a bit like we're seeing a TVT with both players awaiting that +1/+1 for a timing attack. Although that usually doesn't happen as much, as the siege tanks are a bit more prevalent in that matchup. And with the army composition here of Ragnarok, I imagine siege tanks are going to be incredibly powerful here as well. Nidus Worm could prevent the siege tank fire, of course, a little bit. Depending on where that Nidus Worm will be planted down. 2 siege tanks now available at the 3rd base. Nothing in the main base, nothing in the natural base, so the Nidus Worm successfully planted could be devastating. Let's see if that is going to come into fruition. The rest of the army already poking at the front. This could be a wonderful distraction, keeping Time's Eye away from the minimap here for a little bit. Trying to anticipate this army movement, trying to get all his units in position to try and deal with it. And as you can see, that the roach tunnel is going to be coming up here. There it is. Now the roaches are starting to pile out. A lot of the army of Ragnarok not quite able to really participate for the time being, so it's not that much coming out. However, the base again under pressure. 12 SCVs have been killed, and well, it looks like everything's gonna die again. Oh boy. Was it an overcommittal? I guess Time just had to break down those Nidus Worms before they were set up, right? I think that's kind of where he lost this battle. It's the same place where he lost 20-something SCVs, which is not good. Not opportune. Go for those siege tanks. He's taking a pounding here, man. That's a lot of shots. Gotta be careful somewhat with those roaches. You can't just absolutely throw them. Can he? Wait, can he? He's on 74 workers. It's not an amazing amount, right? Where you can just keep throwing army after army after army away, but it is a solid army where he might be able to get some sort of a transition going. Infestation pit being brought along. We're not seeing a Spire or a Hydra Den just quite yet, so wondering what kind of attack we're gonna be having from Ragnarok here. Ultralisk would be really fun, wouldn't it? Let's started up the melee upgrades as well. However, that could just be for the Zerglings, as perhaps he's getting the Infestation Pit for further Zergling upgrades. Also for the Vipers, right? You could just get the Vipers. You don't necessarily need to get a tier 3 DPS unit. You could just get that Spellcaster and really support those tier 1 and tier 2 units out of the wazoo. There's the Hive coming up. Usually we will see Vipers rather than Infestors. I think Dark kind of a player that is starting to incorporate Infestors a little bit more now and again. And anyone that's already heard me cast once before in a TVC, I probably probably heard me mention that I do very much enjoy one or two infestors, right? You don't fully go for the infestors. You might not even get the upgrade. Like 1 and 2 infestors, just let them grab some energy. And man, oh man, can that lead to a decisive victory. It's usually in a moment like this where the Terran not quite really anticipating anything else. He doesn't quite have the ghost just yet. One good fumble on an army like this, it could just win you the game. Ragnarok, don't go overboard too hastily here, brother. You want to stay clear a little bit until this army commits more onto the creep. That being said, the creep is being shot into bits and little pieces. Not sure how much time he has available here for this setup, but you know what? Here we go. An attempt is going to be made, and that siege tank line is way too tough for the Zerg to crack. That is not something he's going to be able to deal with right now. Bio spilling on forwards, the Menefex trying to keep everything alive, and they're doing a bang-up job so far. Ragnarok spilling back into his third base. A couple of Ravagers desperate with the Biles, trying to force the time backwards, but he's having a rough time at it. He is having quite a rough time at it. He did lose one base, but it wasn't his most important base. Now more circling reinforcements. That is so much right now. My goodness, quite the surround, and Ragnarok avoids taking a significant amount of damage right there, putting him in quite a good spot now, I would say. That base that was taken out, it was, you know, kind of one of those empty bases, not much going on quite yet. Ragnarok, if he had taken it, he would have been in a good, wonderful spot, but he doesn't really necessarily need it right now, because he's still ahead with one base over his opponent. This would make him 2 bases ahead over his opponent. And that is absolutely terrifying for time here. Timifying. Couple of roaches, marauders in Medevacs with Marines. How do you turn this game around still here? It's time. It's rough to say. I guess you... Medevacs. Good way to kind of tiptoe around without losing too much. I think that's the key word for time, right? Efficiency. And tiptoe. Tiptoe around with a lot of efficiency. Ooh, okay, there we go. That's efficient. That's not. That's less efficient. Is he going to do this again? Is that the right call? Excuse me as I look at the overall armies here. We have Vipers now. I don't think this is the way to go for it. Oh, those blinding clouds are massive. They're going to shut down most of this right here. Vials should be landing on those siege tanks. Doesn't quite get the final siege tank. And 54 more Zerglings in production. This base is going to go down another time. As, you know what, it could start to become problematic here. If this base just keeps on dying over and over again. Really thought we would have a better exchange of units there from Ragnarok initially this time around, as he did have the Vipers ready, had some beautiful blinding clouds, but again, it looks like he had to wait for the reinforcements, and even the reinforcements this time not quite enough. He's got 3 Ultralisk in production. Perhaps he spent that money on Ultralisk a little bit too quickly. He needed all that cash to make those units right here, right now. The Ultralisk just take too long, so he's going to lose another base. He's bleeding in his units, and that is what Time's hoping will be happening here. I think the Adrenal Glands may have just finished up, and that's allowing these Zerglings to start trading out a bit better, but it's not enough. GG is called. Time takes game number 2, and he ties up the series. Anyway, in the bottom right side, a blue Zerg. Fighting for Alpha X, it is Ragnarok. In the top left side, the red Terran player fighting for KZ Gaming, it is Oliveira, also known as Time. It's Oliveira time, baby. That's his catchphrase. That's what he says. As he meets you at the tournament, he shakes your hand, he pulls you in close. Oliveira time, baby. Feel the shiver down your spine as you realize you're gonna have to fight this lunatic. Alright, no spawning pool first this time around. Ragnarok, the standard hatch first. Nothing too wild, nothing too crazy. It might be the most standard game we've had so far. The other game we had, I guess game number 2 was pretty standard as well, but what were the previous maps and who won? The first map was Data C, and that was a victory for Ragnarok. The map afterwards was Waterfalls, and we had Time get himself a victory over that one. Those were, you know, the first map was my choice, and then the second one was Time's choice. But don't let anyone know the first map was my choice, because I'm not quite sure if it was the right choice, right? And I don't want to be put up for any responsibility for that. So just make sure that stays between us two. All right. Anyway. All right. Factory coming up. Couple of Zerglings. Couple of Zerglings. Just here to defend against that Reaper boy. Like I said, it does seem the most regular TVZ we've had so far. To be fair, there's only been 2 of them before, so. But then again, like, what else could be more standard than this? We do have a 3rd CC quite quickly. I guess that's the one deviation here from the most cookie cutter kind of TVZ approach you could have. My goodness, I'm a little bit burpy today. My apologies. I'm not sure. I had 1 beer yesterday. Look at me now. Another roach warren here. Looks like standard is just not quite enough for the ZVT approach of Ragnarok. Banshee? Raven? Ooh, I do like ravens, but I think it's going to be a Banshee. It will be the Banshee. Ravens are just fun, right? They're just so much fun. Any spellcaster unit, in a sense, is just... It's really nice to see. I recently read a Reddit post. If this was your Reddit post, my apologies in advance, but it was funny to me seeing someone being like, why are people complaining about Ghost being too strong against too many Zerg units? And him making the case like, well, we only have 1 spellcaster as Terrans, don't we? And oh. He just forgot entirely about the Raven. The Raven just doesn't exist sometimes in the minds of a Terran as a spellcaster. It takes a whole boatload of effort to get used to them, but I mean, players such as Maru who use them in a lot of matchups, they do it with a bang. Again, 5 workers were killed off here by the 5 roaches. Oh, wait, no, there were more roaches. There were 9 roaches. Really? You made 9 roaches this time? That's a lot of roaches, Mr. Ragnarok. Is that too many for you? Are you going to be okay now for any type of counterattack? I guess with the Banshee being there, we don't have as much firepower on the ground. So he can afford to just make a couple of spore crawlers, right? He can, doesn't necessarily have to spend a lot of larvae here. Just a couple of drones, which I guess were larvae before, so it comes down to the same thing. But you know, you don't have to worry about your larvae not becoming drones necessarily right now. You can just make those spore crawlers, rather than being like, okay, you know what, he could be coming for the counterattack. I need circles, I need roaches. So there's a little bit of a cool-headed aspect here. Widowmine drop, however, is getting kills. Bench is getting kills. Hellions, 9 workers. Wow, that's okay. That's an alright amount. What did he lose for it, though? It seems to be somewhat okay on the trading. It's not too bad. However, there is still a 10 worker lead for RAGNAROK. He is getting that 4th base set up. 4th base for time as well, not too far away. Does he want to be called Oliveira now, by the way? Is that his new name? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm still seeing represented in S-Time in other tournaments as well, right? So. Man, you guys looking forwards to the rest of the Home Story Cups this weekend as well, I imagine? Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun once more. Spire on the way here for RAGNAROK. And 9 mutants straight up. Okay. So in this point of the game, we're kind of at a balanced setup. You don't necessarily anticipate one person straight up murdering someone else. But we are going to start out with these kind of pushes from time. I'm not sure if he really should commit too much here, but well, that's what he did the previous game, and he won that game, so... Alright, nice, lovely. Yeah, this is great. Just moving back, getting himself off of creep here. Getting on top of those watchtowers, and RAGNAROK once again going to make the commitment off of creep. Is that going to be the right call here? He's not focusing down the siege tanks, so a lot of his zerglings are taking a massive amount of damage. But he does clean up the Terran army that was being gone out camping on that watchtower. Ooh, Mutalisk here taking a boatload of damage as well. 1 or 2 of them getting shot out of the sky. RAGNAROK holds on to his bases. He holds on to his worker counts overall. Doesn't do it in a most amazing trade efficiency, but let's see how much he can preoccupy time across the map now with these Mutalisk. It's not that many anymore, but their mobility is still the same. Right? It doesn't matter how many Mutalisk they are, the flock is going to fly at the same pace. The mobility and the maneuvering you can kind of do is still pretty similar. Except for that you can't really fly into 2 missile turrets here, right? 2 missile turrets and you're dead. A couple of Marines and you're dead. So he is going to try to increase this flock still. 11, 3 more on the way. Going up to 14 for the time being. Plus 1 air weapons also coming in. So quite a committal to the Mutalisk. And then behind it, ooh, this is interesting, a Hydra Den immediately, together with the Infestation Pit. So I was kind of thinking about maybe we're going to go into a Greater Spire from here, but not necessarily the case. We could just deviate back into Lurkers here rather rapidly as well, which is interesting because we have the melee attacks as well as the air weapons attacks now being upgraded. You're really providing the best the best support for a lurker-based army. Maybe he just made the Hydra Den for later down the line, you know. Just so when he is ready to do another attack switch, he already has it set up. Oh, no, there is those upgrades going as well. Important to have those if you do want to make a sudden surprise switch for your opponent. Big surround here. Little mines retargeted onto those Mutalisk. Quite a nice job, not entirely certain. RAGNAROK had a lot to find there, but takes a small engagement. It doesn't look like it went too bad for him, right? The trade value overall staying the same, so I would say that fight not too bad. Pretty good for Ragnarok. Any fight that kind of goes equal is going to be in his favor, as he just has more bases right now. So I'm the player that needs to be more efficient. Starting to add a lot of Thors. This could be the reason why we're seeing the Hydra Lisk upgrades as well, right? Thor's not the best units against those lurkers, as they, well, they kind of clump up. A low amount of lurkers Thors are great against, but once you kind of get to a number where they start 2-shotting Thors, maybe even 3 or 4-shotting, I think 4-shotting might just be the limits of where you want it to be as a Terran. You got a lot of wiggle room then, right? You can kind of spread out. It's going to be a lot of tanky damage. As time will once again start heading onto creep. Starts cleaning it up. Counter-attack for Ragnarok could be in the cards here. That's what we would see a lot of Zergs do. Just sending all those Zerglings and Banglings across instead. Now, we have Ragnarok here setting up on his side of the field. Having a bit of a surround. Mutalisk are still going across. So we will see maybe some SCVs being picked off through here. That's four missile turrets. What a lad. Ooh, that's a big Widowmine. Very patient out of our Terran player here. Inching forwards with those Widowmines once again. Ragnarok trying to set them up. Nice unburrow though, however, not going to be allowed re-burrow in. As Ragnarok now goes with most of his forces, he's going to take a lot of damage from the Widowmines, I imagine. And the Banelings, yeah, they're nowhere near where they need to be. The Marines still safe, shooting from a distance. And suddenly Ragnarok here with just a very, very small looking army. But I'm still feeling a little bit hesitant about trying to make this push go further into Zerg territory. His energy on the medevacs is low. He's already stimmed once extra, so his units are in the yellow HP. There's still, what, 6 Mutalisk on his main base, causing a bit of a disturbance. One Thor in a medevac, capable of dealing with that, it seems. Let's take another look at the trade efficiency here. Ooh, it's gone more so into Time's favor. So we might be looking more at a scenario where Ragnarok is going to have to try and actually kill Mr. Time here, rather than just kind of trading out over and over. So, yeah, this is the way to do it, right? Killing off a base. Shutting down the economy game here for Time. People allow him to be this inefficient with his trading. However, he's losing a base on his side of the field as well. No way he's going to save this. Nothing is nearby enough to try and defend it. So that is a hatchery that is shot down. Another hatchery that was being built on the bottom left side also shot down. So 2 bases from Ragnarok being traded for the 1 base of Time. Ragnarok still 1 base ahead, however, surprisingly enough. Or is he? Wait a moment. Oh, no, he's not. That command center just could land there once more. A bit tricky. Nice Widowmine once again. As the Zerg starts spilling forwards, more Zerglings coming in from behind. Just the unit that he needed against those Thors and the Ghosts that are starting to be produced here. Widowmine's not gonna be able to get too much. No, never mind, guys. Those are some okay connections. And Ragnarok, he kills SCVs. He kills another command center, another one that was being produced, also either cancelled or killed. And he did take out a reasonable portion of the Terran army there as well. All of this definitely giving me some more courage to say that Ragnarok is looking alright here. That scan just barely not seeing the lurkers, I imagine. I was not in time to double check that. Then again, I mean, what would you want against those lurkers? Probably Ghost. Probably ghosts. We do have a certain amount of ghosts here, but where are they? Where are the ghosts? Oh dear, we only have 2 of them. We only have 2 of them. Okay, we will need more than 2. He will need more than 2. I think he might be dead. I think he might be dead. Zerg spinning on through, although you know what, that's a round from time. That is beautiful. That did... Wow. Oh my goodness, that looked so much better than I had imagined it would. I guess you can beat lurkers with just a small amount of marines as long as they're perfectly surrounding the lurker ball, right? If you come in from full angles, apparently it's all possible. Very well played there by Time. A wonderful engagement. Really, really solid stuff. Still not out of the woodworks just quite yet, however. He's got himself a bit more breathing room, but he still has to acquire himself this extra base here. And perhaps do something about the gold base in the bottom left side, or the base on the top right side. Either one of those bases should be his kind of place of focus right now. Going straight through the middle might be another way, but it's definitely a more scary one. More creep available, and it's going to take you a lot more longer over time, and it gives the Zerg a lot more opportunities to get us around on you. Now, just because of that doesn't necessarily mean that it's impossible to make it work, but we will need to see a bit of a fumble out of Ragnarok for that to happen. Ragnarok trying to set off some Widow Mines there, losing some more drones. I think that is from harassment over here. Yeah, there we go. Liberator. Time good enough with it. Apparently that it seems enough for Ragnarok to build 2 more spore crawlers there. There's a couple of infestors. Yeah, they're tough to make work in a situation like this, right? I don't think you can attack with the infestors. You need to wait for the turn to attack you, and that's when you do it. Otherwise, they're just going to be too spread out. They're just going to be too spread out. Okay. It's still going back and forth quite happily so. Although, be it, the trading still quite heavily favoring Time here, and it's looking better and better for him. The engagements for Ragnarok have been... It feels like he's a bit too trigger happy now and again, right? It feels like he's just a little bit too trigger happy now and again. Here's, maybe not one of those times. He's going over 3 quite heavily so. At least he cleans up another one of those Terran bases. The Terran still on 83 something army supply, and oh my goodness. Okay, he does get the planetary fortress. 12 SCVs going down. The SCV count not that much of a detriment at this point. We have 4 orbital command centers and 2 planetaries. Should be able to replenish them relatively quickly. 2 more command centers coming up there as well. I imagine those are going to be orbitals. As the Ghost with Float having a bit of a free time there. Took a long while for the Spore Crawler to set up in the ground. No Overseers here. Are we going to see a Dark Templar kind of victory? Yes, we will. Time trading too efficiently there. Ragnarok going off of creep. Maybe, perhaps, a couple of times too many. No Reapers. The day is calm at the Zerg base. Zerglings patrolling, anticipating a Reaper to approach the base at any angle, at any time, but Terran instead has gone for the Marine approach. Doesn't really look like he wants to go Overlord hunting. Only one Overlord's really in a position where it could have... Well, the other Overlord's here in the bottom. Perhaps could have gotten 2, but... not with just a single Marine. You would need more, and then you open yourself up for those Zerglings to suddenly come rushing across the map as well, right? And since he didn't scout himself, you know, it would have definitely been a gamble. It would have been a gamble. Could it have worked out? Sure. Would it have worked out in this one? Perhaps, because there's not that many Zerglings on the map, right? It would have been difficult for Ragnarok to punish the Marines moving out, but hey. time instead. Still perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Regular setup. Work account. Ooh, wait. Oh, there we are. There we are. That's the stuff we want to see. Fusion core on that production tab. That's going to spice things up here. Ragnarok with the 2 overlords in positions. Going to be just 1 overlord in position. The potential to scout this. This would be a good opportunity for him to try and make that move with the overlord, as he knows the Marines have just gone into a medevac and are making their approach across the map. He doesn't necessarily know if they pulled back or not, of course. That could have happened, but he's got confirmation here. The medevac is in this vicinity. Still not flying in with that overlord, so the battlecruiser is still completely going to be a surprise. The Hellions there letting those Zerglings through. Just a slight misplacement of the Hellions, but they do find themselves another good angle here. And you know what, the Zerglings not finding the nibbling area just quite yet. There they go. Now are going to be able to deal with this. Up until the moment when the Marines suddenly get themselves involved there as well. And that's important. You don't want to lose those Hellions unnecessarily here, especially with the battlecruiser coming up. It's an amazing tool to have those Hellions there. He's even going to repair them. That is wonderful. That is really smart. As the battlecruiser on its own can be quite lethal. The Hellions on their own can be quite lethal. But if you come at your Zerg with both of those at the same time, it's bound to get some damage. Right? It's just going to happen. We all know. You know it. I know it. We all know it. It's full on Mac. 2 more factories coming in behind this. First battlecruiser. Let's see where this is going to go towards. It's a bit of a surprise. Right underneath the Hellions are approaching here as well. The Marines being dropped in. Let's see that battlecruiser target down. The Queens. The Hellions now should be rotating towards those drones. There they go. Drones quite vulnerable here. The Queen's quite vulnerable. Oh, the Banelings stepping on forwards. More Queens have arrived. A lot of those drones are going down. However, 13 already. More on the barbecue. There we go. That is a brutal amount. 18 workers. But that was quite a committal out of time as well. 1 battlecruiser. A couple of those Hellions. A lot of attack behind this. Oh, that 3rd base already set up as well. The Mac transition here might leave him a little bit vulnerable if there were some sort of a counter-attack, but we can see there is none in the works. We have a Spire coming up for Ragnarok. That is going to be his attempted play here. And that could be relatively strong against a player that's not going for Marines, right? We don't have any medevacs either, so even if he were to, you know, complete these armories, start making 4s, his only real tool will be missile turrets and battlecruisers here, perhaps for a little bit. And the Thor is just going to be incredibly slow. It's going to struggle moving from base to base without a medevac being able to ferry it around. So I'm definitely seeing an opportunity here, perhaps, for Ragnarok. But did this Liberator see the Spire? Where is the Spire? Precisely, it's over here. Yeah, he did not see that, did he? No, sir. No, sir, he did not. Love the blue flame here as well. Don't see blue flame enough. Battlecruiser onto the main base. 9 Mutalisks now in production. Here we go. This could be the scary part. Ooh, those Queens getting caught out. Nice transfuse, saves all of them. 6 Queens, more than enough with those Zerglings there to push this back now. But the battlecruiser back into the main base. The Queens all rotated into the 3rd. The scan finally picking up what's happening here. And 2 Thors immediately in production. Widow Mines as well. The Widow Mines could be a great tool as well, man. Definitely something. Ratting out those Hellions, not going to let them all get shot down immediately, but the majority of them definitely having a rough time here. Talking about having a rough time. Those siege tanks, they don't have missile turrets. The Mutalisk trying to come in a little bit slow, but they can just hop one in here. The quicker, the better. As the missile turret now already shot down. The Thor still not quite available. And this is what we were scared of here for time. He just doesn't have anything against the Mutalisk. The battle cruisers he sent in, he kind of just let die the first one. If he had two battle cruisers here with a majority of the SCVs kind of just repairing it, he would have had a good chance of keeping his base up. Now, instead, he's taking an enormous amount of damage. 18 SCVs. Tremendous job there for those Mutalisks. The base does still remain alive, however, and with that, I would say the odds of time making a bit of a couple of plays here once again and just turning this game back into his favor are going to still be here as well. It is a tight rope to be walked for sure. With RAGNAROK just growing to immense proportions here on the other field, side of the field. Getting all the attack that he does desire to have against that next play. Roach Warrior now coming out. Amount of Zerglings here, more Banelings being produced, wondering what that's going to be about. Not the greatest tool against the Thors, but they are going to be a good tool against those SCVs, I suppose. And without the SCVs, the Thors won't be repaired. Another siege check here, perhaps on the menu. No, okay, he's going to try to make his way out of there again. Oh my goodness! I did not expect the Zerglings and Banelings to try and make their approach here as the Mutalisk got busy in the main base. Not pretty certain with thinking that he would just attack with everything at the same time. Going to be the case. A good repair there onto the Thor, keeping it alive for a couple of shots longer. But again, 18 SCVs once more going into the graveyard. Being put into the ground. The army supply of time just never quite manages to get up onto that lethal kind of volume. Struggling to find himself a foothold here. Perhaps the next attack for RAGNAROK is just going to be the last. Or perhaps we'll see a wonderful, somewhat of a miracle hold here out of our Terran player. With the mines hitting the Mutalisk, that's a reasonable start. We know now, RAGNAROK is just using those Mutalisks to try and lure away as much Terran as possible. Hellbats, okay. Almost missed pathing there, but moved backwards. Why? Why push into this one choke point like this? Okay, there we go. Spreading out. There we go. This is the way you do it. Everything together at once and spreading out against those Dynamites where he sees them relatively well. Back onto those SCVs, just the SCVs. Oh, that's going to be another 18 kills straight off the bat and more ensuing very quickly. GG is called. RAGNAROK ties up the show. And map number 5. Inside and Out. The top right side, a blue Zerg. Fighting for Alpha X, it is RAGNAROK. Bottom left side, a red Terran. Fighting for Kaisi Gaming, it is Time. Also known as Oliveira. Another Trixie spawning pool first here out of RAGNAROK. We do have another. I think this is going to be Reaper. Might be wrong. Yeah. It will be a Reaper. So, a couple of ways this can go. The Reaper can be moving across the map as a big difference here as opposed to the previous time when we had these two openings go up against each other. We don't have time going across the map with an SCV, right? And that's bigger than it seems, because that allows RAGNAROK to stay hidden for the time being up until this Reaper is the first scout to move across the map. Right? So he's not using this Reaper now to stay back and defend his command center. The command center on the low ground again has two lone Zerglings, a hit squad of units starting to make their way across. Time immediately realizes this, sees the hatchery, and oh, that is going to be a scary thought. Runs it back. Reaper already going back across, and the two Zerglings here. Oh, okay, missing their opportunity, perhaps. If those were 4 Zerglings, that would have been a delayed CC here on the low ground. Fortunately for RAGNAROK, you know, it's kind of hard to figure that out. Losing a drone there. Really shouldn't happen with a spawning pool first, in all honesty. Especially when you get the speed quite quickly and you go for this amount of Zerglings. Zergling, okay, well that Reaper should go down. It's the Zerglings make their way across the map. What do we have available here for time as a defense? It's gonna be a wall. So perhaps just gonna deny the... Oh, doesn't get hit by the Widowmine. That would have been devastating. And yeah, the base just up in the sky right now. He's going to float it back. Yes, he is. Ooh. Oh my goodness. RAGNAROK just be a heart attack every time. He's like, what's this little Widowmine here? Yeah, okay, let me run out again at the last possible second. Just so I don't lose all my Zerglings here, and you can just do whatever you want, regardless. Okay, did drag it out there. Only one Zergling going down. It sees, as we can see, the one corpse, signaling that there's only been one murder of a Zergling. As the professional, the casters always say as well. And a little bit of a drop now across the map. One Widowmine. Couple of Marines definitely got that job cut out for them. But 4 Queens ready to meet them. And well, he's gonna just send the Overlord in and set it off. He could. That Overlord is really close by. Nothing happening here. Okay, so RAGNAROK had a bit of a awkward start with his drone count, I want to say. Just losing the one drone, having the spawn first. But he definitely managed to get himself back up there again. 42 to the 36, but I do feel like there is no wiggle room here for him to lose anymore. Well, I guess Roaches. This is actually pretty good. Surprisingly, a good hold there for RAGNAROK. He just barely had those Roaches out in time. I wasn't even, I wasn't aware that Roaches were in the production. My bad. But that is a wonderful little timing there for RAGNAROK, working out marvelously for him. We know he would have probably made those anyway, trying to get across the map and be aggressive himself. Liberator, a lonesome Liberator, causing a lot of trouble for the Zerg here, trying to push through the one choke point. That's the quickest entry way to the Terran. The Biles force the Liberator backwards. More Biles will be available. Let's see if he gets the hits right here. It's definitely quite rough. More Hellions trying to go for kills, but only 2 drones going down. Now they're very close to getting a ton of workers. Looks like a clutch defense for RAGNAROK. It's now the lair coming up. 2 Evo chambers. Yeah, RAGNAROK just kind of backing off, realizing, you know what, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to do damage here. Waiting for another opportunity later down the line. up some space, some territory, grabbing himself the extra gas geysers now on these 2 bases that he's got. Grabbing himself another base that he will be going to get. Hard to say truly who's in a better spot right now. For me anyway. Upgrades rather similar. Work account looking okay for Ragnarok. I guess the 3rd base here for time. Not tremendously quick, but it should be quick enough, right? Oh my. Oh, that was a lovely shot. Well done there, Ragnarok. Hawkeye Ragnarok, my goodness. Shoots down the Liberators with Ravager Vials. As Ragnarok here, it's a really good scout off. Doesn't quite see all of the barracks there, but he sees the majority of the production and sees that there's a 4th base in production also, so not too shabby, not too shabby. Spire served him well in the previous game. Can it do it again now that he's up against a bio army composition rather than the mech army? There's definitely not going to be as many opportunities here, as there's already a batch of those Marines always going to be available, right? There's always going to be more Marines coming out of the main base as well, and they're quick, nimble units ready to chase down Mutalisk. Unlike the 1 or 2 Thors and the 2 battlecruisers. But without medevac support. 13 Mutalisk. 13 Mutalisk. How many Marines? 33, 34, 30. Oh my goodness, that's 5 in production. That's a lot. Oh, cameraman, get your act together. Alright, there they are, the Mutalisk. No missile turrets just quite yet in the main base. That could be trouble. Trouble a-brewing already. 6 SCVs going down. The Marines starting to pile up in the natural base, trying to get everything together. That 3rd base still looking rather exposed as well. The missile turret almost going up, but not in time. Immediately shot down there by the Mutalisk as well. A small batch of Marines coming in. Oh, the Mutalisk going to trade out against them. Yes, he is. Nice micro. Pulling away the hurt Mutalisk. And my goodness, these bad flying bats are really just whacking away at that mineral line, aren't they? 14 SCVs gone down, 61 remaining for time. As he is on full bases, luckily for him. He might be able to replenish those numbers sufficiently enough still, but he's got to be ever so careful not to lose much more. +2 weapon attacks for those Marines are going to help out quite significantly against the Mutalisk as well. No armor upgrades on the flying sausage rolls. A bit of a attempt into the main base, just getting whatever he can. Anything that's not nailed to the ground and surrounded by missile turrets is going to get shot down there, it seems. Ragnarok even prepping for counterattacks here as well. He's got a couple of spine crawlers on the right flank, a big army there, but his left flank. I like spine crawlers. I like them. Wouldn't mind seeing a couple more. I know they don't always do the best job, but hey, they look cool. They do damage. They don't take up supply, which is one of the bigger things. Okay, time decides that this could be a moment for him to start moving out. It looks like with the army composition overall, the army for Ragnarok here doing, you know, may not look like a great job, but I do think this was the right call for him to make for the moment. as he just doesn't have as much army supply as his opponent. He needs to take a quick trade a little bit and then have another fight with his replenishments coming up behind it. And that's exactly what he managed to do there. Now it just comes down to the follow-up, right? The replenishment fight here. And is that replenishment fight now going to be enough for Ragnarok to clean up this Terran army? And I think it very well might be. There is so many Zerglings wrapping around the floors. The Mutalisk are still there. The Banelings are pretty much still there. And then we have the horde of Zerglings just wrapping around everyone, not letting anything escape. But a handful of Marines into a medevac. And that base for Ragnarok is fine. The spine crawlers, they've done their job. They've been cleaned up. Time realizing he can't let big threats like that stick around for too long. Has to shoot them down, obviously. Ultralisk Gavin coming in here for Ragnarok as well. Are we already moving towards Ghost? I'm keeping my eyes peeled, but I don't see a Ghost Academy, nor one in the production tab. So that could be a bit of a problematic scenario here if Ragnarok gets himself into the late game attack. Way ahead of time. And game upgrades are starting to take roots in the match as well. So our Terran player here is just kind of trying to not die for the time being. And it could be a tall order to make. Bailings there right on top of those SCVs. They are going to get a brutal amount once again. And oh boy, is this the secondary Bailing attack? Could have been really cool. Could have been really cool for those Banelings to be coming in there, because, you know, this is where the Terran reinforcements is going to push into. Then they're going to try to kite back here. And then if you have those Banelings coming in from here, that you know, that could be really nice. But is mismanaged, perhaps, or mistimed, or maybe that wasn't the idea at all, and that was just a waypoint kind of mistake there. Who knows? But regardless, Ragnarok dealing a bit more damage to the army of time, and that is just what he wants to be doing right now. Coming in over and over again like a battering ram, trying to just break his opponents. Slowly but surely. The Terran player here, stuck on his own base. The game has evolved into a bad enough spot where he is just going to have to survive right now. Again, efficiency will be key for the Terran units here from a situation like this. They need to take an enormous efficient trade. One where they almost trade 1 to 2 for army value overall. And get the push across the map once again. And let me tell you something, this is not looking like it. This is not looking like a Terran trading value 2 to 1. Although, you know what, he's picking up a lot of those Banelings right now. The spine crawlers are there, more Banelings in production. It's going to be a while before the rest of the Terran army is here also, and he really feels certain about pushing in here. But you know what, he is going to take out a base, perhaps, is he? Might be. No more Banelings anymore. Still a fair chunk of Marines in the back here, being supported by however many siege tanks this is, and the Liberators there. Ragnarok still poking in with a couple of Mutalisks coming pull him left side. Trying to do whatever he can, and Ragnarok here once again taking a fight that perhaps he doesn't necessarily have to take. Those blinding clouds, absolutely gorgeous. Some of the best blinding clouds I've seen in a while, and those are gonna allow him to clean this up. Those blinding clouds on their own, it really feels like perhaps well, I suppose the Ultralisk versus Marines, not the best matchup there either. There's no Marauders here to give support and really deal with the Ultralisk efficiently for the time being. You have that one Liberator there, but that's all the, you know, strong DPS you got available against these mammoths just walking around the map right now. A little bit of a push. Time just Oh, again. Bit of a desperate measure. Trying to be efficient. Can't quite make it work. One game more goes into Ragnarok's favor, and that puts him onto match points. Alright. Best of 7. Switch those nameplates. A 3 and a 2. A 3 and a 2. Top left side, a Zerg. He's almost there, guys. He's almost there. He's almost got the victory. It's on the tips of his fingers. Can he grab it? Can he hold on to it? Or is something gonna go awry? It is the Blue Zerg for Alpha X Ragnarok. In the top right side, his opponent starting out very strong and having a bit of a letdown later down the line in this best of 7 here, allowing the comeback to happen, and now suddenly he's behind in the scores overall, but still definitely manageable of a situation. He's just 2 points away from victory himself after all. It is the red Terran player from Kaisi Gaming. Time. Okay. Another Reaper quick expand here, probably. And another spawning pool first out of Ragnarok. He really is seemingly attached to the early game aggression. Has become a bit of a staple of his, but we'll see if it's going to be bearing fruit this time around. Six Zerglings. Okay. We've seen just the one batch of Zerglings as well being produced the previous time, and I think that kind of was the him trying to play it against a SCV scout. SCV scout should already be aware, right? Those Zerglings, they indicate that, hey, wait a moment, you make your spawning pool before the hatchery. Still goes to double check if there is or is not a hatchery there, because if there's not, and this is a one base something, right, or a proxy hatchery in the neighborhood of his own base, that is still something he's going to have to take into account, which is why he went a little bit deeper to see whether or not the hatchery is there as well. But yeah, you know, gets that confirmation with the SCV, so he's going to be able to start taking the steps he needs to against this, which is keep the Reaper at home and just play it safe. Play it safe. Third base coming up. I'm not sure how safe that is against Ragnarok, but I think it worked out for him so far. Right? I'm trying to think back on all the other games, but I believe the one where he did go for a very quick third, it did go in his favor. So at least with this kind of progression of builds out of the two. Let's see if Lady Luck shines upon him once more. Starport about to be ready. Everyone's blood is going to be curdling as we're waiting to see whether or not a fusion core is coming up. We're waiting in anticipation. Why? Oh, I didn't select a Reaper, did I? There we go. Now I did. I mean, the cameraman. I'm Kozan, and the cameraman is Camman. Camman. It's hard to say. Anyway. What else are we doing? Ooh, a Viking coming up. I like that. Can definitely appreciate a good old Viking here, hunting down some overlords. Liberator afterwards, a fair amount of Hellions. Still producing those Marines as well. It is still the 1-1-1, and okay, there is the stim pack. A little bit of a committal into the bio then. I just wasn't quite sure what we were gonna get just yet. Now it seems pretty clear. It will be the bio. Let's see what the Overlord there managed to see. It's just basically a third base. He doesn't know much else. Losing a creep tumor. Not a spire. It's been the bane in the existence of time so far. A true thorn in his thigh, or paw, or... Where do you have a thorn again? Thorn in his eye? I mean, a thorn in your eye would be just... It feels so much worse than a thorn in your hand. Good reaction. Solid stuff. Solid stuff. We should do that, like, cast like this as well. Production. There's production happening over here. There's production happening over here. There's people on a watchtower. There is a Viking still hunting for... Actually, how many? Still only two. Still only two. But they were quick overlord kills, by the way. And that's difficult for Ragnarok to manage. Probably could have highlighted that a little bit more so, seeing the production of Ragnarok in that time frame. But you know what? Maybe you'll just have to get the replay back if you want to go and check that out yourself. Double drop with the Medivacs not entirely filled. And unfortunately, the circlings are there before most of the Marines are on the ground. So, having to fall back here, but you know what? He's ready for more. The Marines back on the ground, making life difficult here. And the Hellions now on top of those drones on the other side of the map. Really giving a tough time here to Ragnarok as 15 as... Oh, 16! 16 drones go down. The drop, however, also falls, and we've seen Mutalisk perform miracles for Ragnarok before. Are they going to be able to do that again? No, sir. The missile turret ready this time for time. As time and time again, that seemed to be a weakness of time. Not having the missile turrets up in time, time really struggled with. Well, you've heard me say plenty of time. The word time as well as the name time, but... but this time... this time it's something else. Something else entirely. Yeah, I don't think these Mutalisks are going to get a whole load done. At least not until there's a fourth base. Once the fourth base is available, maybe, right? Because then it really becomes a juggling of your army kind of situation here for the Terran to keep everything safe from Mutalisks. Right now, he seems to be doing an alright job with it. To be fair, the Mutalisk flop wasn't that severe just quite yet, so... As it's growing, it's becoming more and more of an issue. Ooh, I like the Marines coming in from the bottom. I was looking for Marines shooting those Mutalisks, but I didn't realize that they were on the bottom side there. It's a nice little clever push out. As we... Just for the fourth base. It might be. I hope so for his sake. Because he seems to be struggling to push out of his natural base. 3 missile turrets in total there, not messing around. You gotta love it. Too many players just don't take these types of threats too seriously enough. And underspend on those missile turrets. A flock of Mutalisks starting to really take a lot of damage there, but not too many of them shot out of the sky. Only 4 of them so far. There's still a grand total of 20 remaining. That's a fair chunk of muta change to have in the pocket. Is he going to go for these missile turrets? We'll need to stack up quite heavily. Even then, I think he would lose a fair chunk of those mutalisks. This does seem to be a bit of Ragnarok's MO now and again, right? Just kind of going through a very tight choke point at a moment where you're like, do you have to try and push your way through this choke point? I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps this idea is just kind of to try and make it work, right? Here's how I would try to talk this correct for him. Or try to make this a good idea. Is that the Terran is not going to be anticipating a fight there, is he? He's not going to be set up. He might not even be looking at his army. If you get those banelings just a couple of meters on top of the enemy army before he's aware that banelings are encroaching upon him, that could be tremendous. That could be so much. Right then and there, you could just win games, literally, just off of that. Or, you know, the Terran is paying attention and you just take a horrible fight. Feels like a bit of a gamble in that sense, doesn't it? Good players should always make a couple of gambits now and again. Never let your opponent feel too comfortable. Otherwise, they're not going to be spending enough time being panicked about the potential things you could be doing. And that you're just simply not doing. Like this. Really cool pull away with those banelings. Don't see that enough either. Gold base has been taken. And we're once more in one of those positions where RAGNAROK probably wants to try and take a little bit of an engagement here. Shave off bits and pieces of the Terran army and then just retreat. This is going to put time back on 95-ish army supply. And with that, RAGNAROK is going to be able to immediately, you know, make those 72 Zerglings. Make this an army supply advantage for his sake instead. So I'm hesitant with this, furthering this push. Don't say I blame him. It's rather close to creep. And up against the Zerg, that takes no prisoners. RAGNAROK allowing that hatchery to be slain this time around. Not going to be too bothered by it, it would appear. So he is still one base total ahead of his opponent. Almost two bases, but time's working. Oh, well, actually, no. Yeah, it's just one base. That is, oh my dear lord. Is that almost 11 Mutalisks getting shot down there? My goodness. Probably less. Probably maybe like 6, I would say. Still a lot of mutants. Uh-oh. 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 Army, move quicker. Move quicker, army. Army needs to be there. Not quite here right now, as this is a planetary that lives. Whoa, don't see that all too often. A couple of SCVs even staying alive in that vicinity. 16 SCVs in total have been slain, however, and to be honest, I think our Red Terran might not be too bothered by it. Since he's already back up to almost 200 supplies, he's going to replenish this with more army supply. Man, RAGNAROK is taking such inefficient fights here. Just banelings rolling into cores and siege tanks and stuff. It's tough to see. But he keeps that base going, I suppose. His creep spread, not too impressive either for the time that it is, right? It makes sense that it's here. It's still a good amount. Don't get me wrong, it's still a very good amount. But on this bottom side, where he's kind of having all these fights, there's just not enough for him to carry the Zerglings and Banelings onto the bio units here. Ooh, more Ultralisk once more. Coming out. 8 Ghosts available. Careful, Mr. Time. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. I think that's it, guys. Is it? There's still quite a couple of Ultralisk here, marching and parading around. A good amount of Zerglings there as well to try and catch up with the Marauder, the Ghost, whatever might be available. The Siege Tank here is just going to have to bite the bullet as well. Time, is he gonna still stay breathing here? He's got 2 Marauders, 3 Marines, and a Ghost. He's up against 3 Ultralisk and about 80 Zerglings. These 7 Widowmines are gonna need miraculous hits. Some of the better connections. The Ultralisk went back home and they managed to get some transfusions going. So they're being healed up nicely now. There we are. Ragnarok sitting back, getting all the upgrades. Starting to get ready to deliver a killing blow here to his opponent. One that Time is going to have to pull all the stops for to try and make it not be his last fight here. That planetary fortress immediately forfeited. No way he's going to keep that alive, so he decides not to try and take a desperate fight there, which is the right call. But it does put him deeper into the pit of despair here. Even more so. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. Definitely in favor for Time, but yeah, the base count has just been so solid for Ragnarok here. Couple of infestors. Oh, there it is. Oh, doesn't quite manage to land that fungal there. Yeah, the way Time is playing this, it feels very difficult to make the infestors work. Especially like that, where you're trying to have them be one of the first pieces you activate. I think if you want to make this work, you gotta try to have the Terran kind of try and chase you. Maybe even feint a defeat at first. There's a lot of energy on the medevacs that's going to be spilled up against that fungal. Nice pull away. Another army of the Zerg now starting to spread out. Looking for this planetary fortress, the one who lived. And now no longer. It's not the Harry Potter planetary fortress we all thought it was. No sir, this one was just a temporary Harry Potter planetary. Harry Potter planet. The Harry Planetary. Harry the Planetary. Oh my god. I like that. I really like that. I'm going to continue using that. Whenever a planetary lives, it's going to be Harry the Planetary. Oh, because he's the boy who lived. Well, that might be. This might be my peak casting right now. I feel really proud. Oh man, I hope no one else made that joke already. Alright, anyway, what's happening here? I feel like Time is just slowly being killed, but I mean, he's hanging in there, right? He's trading with an enormous efficiency. And the bank for Ragnarok, it's starting to lessen, right? There's not that many more opportunities for him to keep making these armies. The gold base has been defeated, so no longer will be just gobbling up all the minerals from there. Unfortunately for him. May get all of that back in a moment, however, of course. So many widow mines. There's more Ragnarok. Careful, Ragnarok. There's more widow mines, Ragnarok. He didn't hear me. I know that feeling so well. When you're playing as a Zerg and you're like, okay, let me clean up this widow mine, and then you're like, wait a minute, okay, there's 2 widow mines. And it's like, what? Wait, there were 3, and then you just like, okay, well, I guess I still have enough, and you keep going, and then it's like, widow mine 5, 6, 7 show up, and it's like, no, my units, they're all dead. More infestors here from Ragnarok. This is really cool. More doubling down on the infestor here, and I'm not sure if I like it. I've been calling out for infestors for so... What is this? Why did he run away? It just seems like time is too spread out. The infestors are good if time gets aggressive to you and has those units starting in a big clump together. I guess, to be fair, forcing time to be this spread out and this proactive with his army unit movements can make it a lot more difficult for him to be at multiple places at the same time, right? So if you start ping-ponging from location to location here as Ragnarok, you should be able to multiply your odds of getting a good fungal here at some point, right? But now, as we're seeing it... Ooh, there's Broodlords. There's the Broodlords. That is an extra bit of efficiency I had not accounted for just quite yet. Yeah, that's gonna force everything to clump up together, trying to get underneath the Broodlords. Gold base once again taken out. It's not the main concern anymore here, it would appear, for Mr. Ragnarok. Yes, he now just wants to keep these Broodlords alive. How many do we have in total? It's 10. 10 Broodlords. Whoosh, jeez. That's a good amount. We're just going to enjoy a little bit of spellcasting here from both these players. Units lost tab, let's take a quick look. Still quite heavy favoring Mr. Time here. The bank for Ragnarok, it's now in 6k minerals, and his gas has been depleted. He's made more infestors. Making 5 more infestors. Gonna go up to 10 infestors in total. I think that might be too many. He doesn't really have gas anymore. He should be long distance mining the gas here as well, I would say. So that is the resource that he needs most desperately now. Yeah, look at this. All his gas guys. Okay, here we have one remaining. 2k and about 1.5k. Do we have gas here still remaining? Yes, we do. Okay, okay. So he still has about, like, maybe 4 to 5k. Maybe 6k. I think so, yeah. Around 6k. Somewhere between 1 and 8,000k gas he's still got remaining. I love this hatchery here on the left side as well. Just connected back onto creep. Really force time to push in there if he wants to try and deal with it. Ooh. It's a nuke. It's a nuke. Mine's picking up a couple of drones. Not the worst case anymore here for Ragnarok, I would say. He has plenty of drums from the 56 to mine everything that he can right now. There it is. Up into the sky. That would be embarrassing. Oh, imagine if that landed. Oh, and then the nuke. Boom. Man, that would be sick. Not quite, not quite. The fungal there, just barely missing out. Is that another nuke? Did I hear another nuke go off? I don't think so. Okay. Just my imagination. There is another nuke in production. Just not quite yet flying around. Okay, well, this is terrifying. I think there was an infestor going down. Nice EMP there. Fungal is decent. Decent. Is it good enough? Really? We're just going to be sitting here for a little while, I imagine. Neither of these players really want to let the game be over just quite yet. Feeling troubled to try and push into their opponents here. But you know what? Ragnarok's losing these ball crawlers now. Takes out one Liberator. Medevacs. Interesting. Taking out his Medevac so he can make a couple more Thors. How many Medevacs does he have here still remaining? He's got 3. Yeah, that should be more than enough, right? Now the real pain train arrives. Sometimes it's funny when you see these SCVs coming in like this. And it's like, man, if only those were Marines, this would have been actually doing quite a bit of damage right now. You send those SCVs in thinking, you know, they're just gonna die immediately, but then they suddenly start doing, killing those spine crawlers, you know? Another nuke flies up into the sky. We'll be looking for the spore crawlers here. Spore crawler Forest managed to get himself out of there. It's a cool placed nuke, right? It kind of attempted to anticipate the army movement from Ragnarok moving northwards to try and intercept the attack that was happening there. Didn't quite work, but it was a cool attempt. It definitely was a cool attempt. Had it worked, we would always, you know, we would forever make fun of Ragnarok. Just like we do with Solar now, right? That is, it's just how it is. It's just how it is. It's a terrible fate. And then again, Solar is doing pretty well for himself, so.
Assimilation successful.
Oh, did he miss the EMP on the rest of the ghost? That is such a shame. He had a neural parasite on one of the ghosts, and then he just, couldn't hit it. That feels bad, man. The range from those brutalings sometimes. Alright, well, Ragnarok's supply is diminishing a little bit, but I think that's mostly just the drones. So army supply is still looking strong now at 170 army supply. Another nuke up into the sky as well. Is only gonna secure this area a slight bit better as long distance mining of the gold base has now been carried out by the SCVs. Ragnarok, is he gonna try to make a move here? This is a very aggressive play. I'm a little bit surprised, but he's going to try to make it happen anyway. A couple of fungals helping out a little bit here. Will he get those Broodlords to deal the damage that he needs to? No, sir. They're moving back once again. The Wall of Thors does seem to be a little bit too much for Ragnarok to want to run into for the time being. He's making more Banelings. He still has 5 open up supply. I guess he could make 8 more Zerglings. There we go. That's what you go for in this situation. You get everything you can. Every bit you can. Now, is he going to stop trying, or is he going to stop these SCVs from running in? Yes, he is. He's going to set it up with the Banelings. Not the most cost-efficient way of doing it, but hey, it's something. The SCVs here still cleaning up that hatchery with the extractor. That extractor, I mean, there's still gas in these, right? This is big. Those SCVs actually shutting down some of the gas mining still available for Ragnarok, and that's exactly what he needs. Oh, Ragnarok decides to dive in on the Thors right here. Had a pretty good fungal onto the Ghost, starting things off there. Broodlord still staying alive for the time being. Is he? He's moving back. I'm not sure if he has to. Well, actually, hold on. He has to because he has no anti-air against the Liberators. That's why he's moving back here. But the Queens arrive. They're going to be poking holes in the Liberator armor. And that is, oof, man, this is a tough game to call. My goodness, that SCV's still going. Come on, boys, come on. Keep punching. We want to see some bloodied up fists from these SCVs right here. They're all going home with medals, I imagine, if this game is victorious and they're still alive. For the Terran player here. Like, these SCVs, to be fair, they've shut down... How much gas is this? This is still 2,000 gas. Every bit matters in situations like this. We all know this. Still a bit of gas mining over here. Still a bit over here. Is he really trying to retake this base? That is a brave plan. That is a really, truly brave man. A brave Milan. A brave man from Milan. This is just a seesawing back and forth on the bottom side of this map. What a game. Mules, go! Go gadget mules, get those minerals out of there. Tractor going down once more. Another ghost or two. Just one ghost. One ghost goes down. Love the fact that he only has those 4 medevacts as well. The bare minimum. It really seems like both players getting the utmost of army composition that they can here. Really fighting for dominance. Slowly but surely, these Broodlords pushing on forwards. Is this going to be the moment? A couple of neuroparasites landing on the force, giving the Broodlords a bit more open space. They land those Broodlings right on top of the force. The ghost moving backwards, desperate to still get something going, but they're too far away from the Broodlords to snipe. And the Zerglings and Broodlings, they're an overwhelming flood that they won't do well against. Oh dear. Oh dear, supplies dropping drastically here for both players, but those Broodlords still standing. They are the scary unit here. Those ghosts as well, they're still up. Who's going to be able to take it? I don't know. I don't know at all anymore. More Zerglings here with the Broodlords. Fighting, and there it is. GG. Ragnarok taps out. He still had his Broodlords, but he does not see his victory odds of being likely. GG. All right. Time takes the victory there. Hey, sorry, my mouth is a little bit quiet right now. Just kind of looking at what's happening. And then sometimes you forget you're casting. I'm supposed to talk about it, huh? Third base here for Ragnarok on the pocket base. Very often we see Zergs taking the third base further forwards, but this time around, Ragnarok playing it safe. Playing his cards close at hand, as he, did go for that spawning pool first, but never really went for Zerglings this time. We really have seen most of these types of, most of the opening types here from Ragnarok. Ooh, that Roach Warren gonna get spotted. Wondering if that is gonna change up the plans once again here. Reaper regen in time. Can the Reaper regen in time? Can he get... Ooh, no, I don't think so. Well, he tried. Did his best, but no Reaper was meant to come out of there alive, I imagine. Third base full time. Again here, relatively quick. As he has another barracks in production there as well. I thought for a moment it was a starport, but that is 2 barracks with the factory. Going for siege tanks. Right? That's right. Okay, okay. So it could turn into a little bit of a timing push here. With a third racks on the way as well, with the 3 base. I don't think he's going to be very committed, so perhaps he just wants to have those barracks up a little bit sooner, so that he could be okay against potential roach pushes, right? He has been struggling against those. And having this quick siege tank here as well with it, definitely a really good call. Yeah, look at that. One tank shot, bam! And it's like, okay, I gotta get out of here. That's not worth it. That's definitely not worth it. Only having the 4 roaches this time around As if he knew he wouldn't be able to get as much done this time. Hellion's not going to get anything killed either, but they're going to get a look around and see the drone numbers here. He does get one drone. More than I thought he would, so well done there. That's the starports. Together with a stim pack upgrade. Don't see any engineering base just quite yet. We may have ourselves another spire coming up shortly here for Ragnarok with the lair tech being upgraded. Still going for the roach upgrades here mostly. Wondering if we're going to go into the Hydras. Instead, banelings first. Okay, okay. You do only have the one gas geyser, of course, off of your third base here, so might be a reason why it's not going for those Mutalisk. Be a pretty good reason too, I suppose. May still have them added in later down the line. Time still just kind of building up his army. That's a queen, that's out of that. Small poke damage here, but you know, it's gonna add up if he keeps doing that. Creep spread, we all know how important it is for the Zerg here to be able to take good trades in the initial part of the game and carry themselves into a better position for the later parts of the game. So already looking a little bit flimsy here perhaps with the creep. But he's making good strides to remedy that situation as well. Counter attack, probably not going to find too much either. SCVs are going to have to get pulled if those Zerglings keep on fighting there, but it's not going to be the case. The Zerglings now trying to make their way back across. A lot of roaches here. Is that enough to take out these Zerg or the Marines? Looks like they are. Together with the Zerglings coming in from behind, taking out the Siege Saints now. That's a good fight there for Ragnarok. Absolutely destroying the Terran army there. And we can see he was even more efficient in the trading there over his opponents. And that is a scary sight to behold for a Terran player here in that unit's lost tab right now. Is it going to be the end of the game here for time because of it? Well, not quite yet. Not willing to say that, but if we see Ragnarok just slowly but surely making more solid moves behind this and solidifying his lead, you know, we can definitely call that moment in the game the moment where Ragnarok initiated his momentum in this game so far. So the ball definitely in Time's court here. He needs to get something done, where he just needs to be again very defensive and trade as efficiently as he can. Options potentially viable, but on a big map like this, Moondance, can you really afford to sit back against the Zerg that is looking to then gobble up most of this map? Banelings, one more Bane, nice. Ooh, big up, big up, big up. He's doing okay with the Marine drops. Still not quite ahead on the trade value, but he's managed to somewhat tidy it up a little bit. Still not at a position where I'm starting to regain my confidence here for Time overall, but yeah. Well, let's see. Ragnarok known for overcommitting to some aggression now and again. might be looking to do that here once more. I think as RAGNAROK, you just want to... Right, he's already doing it as well. He's getting the Ultralisk. He's already got the Ultralisk, Kevin. He's already got the Hive, of course, because of that as well. Adrenal glands coming in. Yeah, he's just sitting back. He's like, alright, you know what? I got a good portion of the map. I'm ahead on bases with like 2 bases right now. That should be more than enough. That should be more than enough. I don't need to kill you at this point. I just know that I'm in a good position. And he's happy to just kind of, you know, carry that position out. See where it leads to. Why force the position to change if the position is beneficial to you, you know? Burrow. Ooh, Burrow. Very cool. Oh, I love that sort of stuff. Too often we only see the Burrow come out when the Zerg is in trouble. And they're like, alright, well, we need something to go our way. Let's try to get lucky with Burrow Banelings. But the investment for Burrow Banelings, right, it's... At this stage in the game, you just need 2 Banelings under in the ground. And the damage they can do is ginormous. It's a very small investment. Try and put like maybe 2 Burrow Banelings somewhere here. Maybe somewhere here. Maybe somewhere here. You know, wherever you think that Terran might be pushing. I think here or here could be good as well. Here maybe. Now we'll see. See if we even get to that. This is a lot of Banelings after all now rolling in. All the bones. Is this going to be too much? Nah, he's got it right. He's going to be able to withstand. You see? Okay, slightly so. Supplies relatively similar still. Bottom left side base being taken by RAGNAROK. There's the greatest spy. He's going back into this late game composition we saw in the previous game. Perhaps he is going to be able to do it a bit better as he's going in it well, from a better position overall in comparison to his opponents. And he's going into it a little bit earlier. That being said, I mean, the ghosts are already here. For time, he doesn't have any Thors, nor does he really have a lot of infrastructure to produce. Well, no, he does have the 2 siege or factories with the attack lab on it, so should be able to make it work. Hydra Den also constructed here. It's a bit weird having a couple of these structures being with skins and then a couple of them not being with skins. I wonder if he did this on purpose. Oh wait, this is like a tournament thing, right? Hold on. I'm thinking back. Is it a multiplayer thing where you can only have like a certain amount of skins? Is that it? If you try to queue up on teams? It's kind of what it feels like with RAGNAROK's skin collection right now. Anyway, 9 Brute Lords coming up. And that's the Thors. Thor's already in production as well. That's what you need. The big beefy Thor boy. Robot with the big cannons ready to shoot out and Brute Lords out of the sky from miles and miles away. RAGNAROK's attack here a little bit disconnected from one another. The Roaches and the Ravagers coming in way later than the Zerglings there. Having a tough time with it. So Sporecrawler Forest is being constructed here on the, well, premise of this base of time. Counter attack. Brood Lords, if they want to deal with this, this is going to be a long distance walk for them. So Ragnarok kind of forced to be dealing with this with a small and low tech bunch of units. And he is struggling. Those snipes landing on most of the Ravagers. Zerglings, Banelings, okay, there we go. They're getting some work done. The Queens and the Brood Lords, however, they decided to make that move towards the bases of time. They are definitely putting the work on the infrastructure put down. Siege tanks repositioning, moving backwards. Command centers, sensor towers, missile turrets, all the shebang being shot down. There's the snipes. That's going to be a lot of dead Brood Lords. No! Keeping them alive. The Ghost back perhaps as well. And the planetary fortress falls. Oh my, this could be too much for time. Supply still somewhat equal, however, and time, his army supply is looking very sharp. 90 army supply strong. Hydralisk in production here, however, from Ragnarok. Lurker then should be available. Correct, is it available? Now, I don't think I see it. Am I blind? Doesn't have a Lurker den. Wait, am I blind? He must have a Lurker den, right? No, he doesn't. That could be an ugly surprise with him going for these Hydralisk. Perhaps anticipating to morph them into Lurkers rather quickly. Maybe he just wants to have those Hydras there to try and deal with the Liberators. To be fair, Hydralisk do okay against Ghost on their own without being upgraded into anything, right? Just a big horde of Hydralisk kind of functions the same way as a ranged Zergling. They're more expensive for sure, but I mean, should be able to handle themselves okay against an army of Ghost. It's mostly the snipe ability that you're scared of. Well, to be fair, that snipe ability is still cleaning up a lot of those Hydralisk. Lords loading in again. New space from mining. That's a good call there for Ragnarok. Ragnarok now starting to set up shop here on the top right side around the 2 o'clock, as well as the 8 o'clock base. Let's take a gander. Yeah, that is quite the unit advantage, isn't it? It's only growing as well, as the bases here for time are continuously being pressured. Circling counter-attack across. They're going to take quite a couple of shots from those siege tanks there, running by the front line. Yeah, that is a ton of Zerglings going down because of that. Let's take a look at the kill count. 27 and 24. Yup. That's, I guess, almost 50 Zerglings then. My goodness. Raiders struggling with taking up the space here as the Vipers just keep pulling them out of their nice set-up siege position. However, the Brood Lords here are starting to somewhat worry me now and again. Because the army available, it's not that much. We got the Infestors, but if you start pushing here from 3 angles, or you know, how many angles you can muster, it's going to be scary. That's going to be a tough fight for those Brood Lords with the Infestors, right? I guess he does have a lot of creep, so it's going to be incredibly difficult for time to catch those Brood Lords and Infestors off guard. Or he's just going to have to really dash across the creep without even trying to really clean up the creep that much. This be it. Let's take another look at that income advantage. It's starting to get closer together. Army supply here for time is looking terrifying, isn't it? 130. The way I think Ragnarok has to do this is maybe, perhaps, not as much focusing on these planetary fortresses anymore, but focusing portions of this army. Just keep trading against the army. The better trades against the army you can get here, the better it's gonna be. Now, of course, planetaries can't really run away, and armies can, so it's a tough call to make. Rolling in through here, it's going to shut down that planetary, no problem. More Corruptors coming up as well. Where did the Broodlords go? Okay, they're still here. They've moved to the low ground. Okay, top right. Nice base there for time. A very important one to maintain and keep a foothold of. If he wants to have a shot at winning this game here, that base is going to have to stay upright. Ragnarok once more, pushing on the left side of the map here. Big portion of the army being sent across, and maybe there are opportunities here for the Zerg to figure out how to deal with this situation, how to disassemble this army. If it's all together, it's incredibly tough of a fight. But if it's starting to spread out like this, you might be able to catch good portions of it off guard with a clump of Zerglings, with a clump of Banelings, with a Fungal, or something like that. Are those opportunities going to arise first and foremost, and then is Ragnarok going to be in a position where he's going to be able to benefit from that, right? He's going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity. That's a really big what if as well. So here's the army for time. Remember, it's about 140 army supply versus 120 here for Ragnarok. Luckily for Ragnarok, though, most of that is Banelings, and Banelings, they are miracle workers in a sense. He doesn't even need them. He doesn't even need them. What am I watching? The Ghost trying to push this back once more. Ragnarok. This is scary, man. Oh, the trading has been so effective. This is him going quicker for that late game attack, isn't it? He went for it so much quicker. The Broodlords, the Ultralisks, everything came out quicker. It might be because it's a bigger map, so he feels more confident. It takes a long time for the Terran to push across. Or maybe it's an adjustment he made, right? A little snap to decision for this series here, being like, you know what? You know what we need? If we're going to go into late game, we may as well try to get myself into a good as possible late game here. It's going to be a Harry the Planetary once again. I don't think so. Oops. Oh, that is dead. That is dead as the dodo. Hmm. 26 workers going down, still on 27 in total. Not that many here for the Red Terran. Let me take a look at the work, you know, the production tab. Let's see that, and also the how many orbitals we still have. 5 orbitals, 1 planetary, 1 command center. Okay. Another wave of Zerglings coming in. Perhaps not a base that time is going to be able to afford to lose. But I don't think it's a base he can afford to defend either. Using a couple more SCVs, not the worst of cases, but definitely a tough one. It is ever so impressive how Ragnarok is applying this much pressure late in the game on 2 sides at the same time. Ooh, an ICMP on the Ghost themselves. Good neural parasite there from underground. just shutting it down. Because this Ball of Ghost, this is pretty much the last tool still available for time here. Just getting snipes over and over again. The one way you might be able to get this done. Another EMPs. Ooh, look at that. That is so little energy now remaining on these ghosts. Is he going to try to just jump on it now? Because of this, he might be... it's still only half his army, I feel like. But it might be enough. He still has Broodlords here. Yep. Yep, I think... Yeah, this must be it, right? This must be it. Where is it? RAGNAROK wasn't here with most of his units. There might still be a problem. But then again, look at the remax now. Oh, that is rough. Oh, that is rough. He's bled out. Time is bled out. Let's take another gander at the income advance. I mean, this has just been blue. I don't remember seeing one bit of red here. Any, like, what, 15 minutes? For 15 minutes, something? 20 minutes, maybe? Rather ridiculous. And then still being able to keep this kind of trading going. You see the efficiency here. 7,000 extra minerals lost by Mr. RAGNAROK. 3,000 extra gas units lost. But you know what? That might be okay if you're ahead with 4-something bases. I mean... he's just going to be able to keep on being as annoying as he wants to. Zerglings absolutely going everywhere. How are you going to dig yourself out of this here, time? There's like 6 more Broodlords coming up. 9 more Broodlords coming up. He's on 14 Ghosts, 2 Thors. And he's going up against... how many is this now in total? 5 plus 17. That is going to be 22 Broodlords. That is most likely too many Broodlords for him to keep moving forwards. Right? I think he's just going to be up against the wall of Broodlings. One fungal is going to land. And everything is going to die. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, conclusion. Are you here? Is this the moment? I think it might be. I'm playing it careful and slow though, however. Might still lose this base, regardless. The Infestors are not here to participate in this battle. They can't help the Broodlords out, but look at how low the Broodlords are. Look at how many are still remaining. 19 still remaining. More snipes trying to be happening here, but the ghosts are so low on energy because of the EMPs from the Neurals before. Really cool stuff there from RAGNAROK. And he's going to be able to just slowly walk out of there as well again. With those, a lot of those Broodlords being so low on HP, he doesn't want to gamble it too much. More Zerglings coming in. Let's take a gander at the production. 11 Corruptors being made. I think that's just going to be more and more Broodlords. But the gas income here for RAGNAROK. Let's... you can still take these two... yeah, you should still have more than enough income here. Right, yep. Still no single dot of red on that income graph. Not a single spike. This is, yeah. Slow and steady. Trying to move himself further forwards. A couple of Hellbats here. Into the drone lines. They're getting a couple of picks. They're getting a couple of kills. I think they really want to get on top of the gas mining drones. There we go. Now he is. It's going to shut down quite a bit, actually. RAGNAROK, his entire army is Broodlords now, so he can't actually deal with this. He has no way of dealing with this. Up until he made a couple more Zerglings because his drones died and he had more supply again available to make Zerglings with. Oh dear. We'll just be sending them forwards. It's gonna have to be a great feeling here for Ragnarok, not seeing another base over here trying to produce. Very satisfying. But, you know what? Ooh, boys. Oh my god, is it happening? No way. Don't you tell me. That's a little ray of hope here coming through. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this little ray of hope all of a sudden? Oh my. Oh my. Ragnarok. He's mining back at these bases now again. It should go back into the blue again. That's kind of funny. Suddenly time back on top of mining there for a bit. Really terrifying fights here. Okay, what in the world are we going to be seeing here? Very, very massive parasitic bombs. Most of those liberators now low HP. Just awaiting their funeral, it seems. The Thors underneath, surrounded by the Zerglings, the Broodlords, the real major threat of this army, not even participating because they're too slow. And yet, still, it's seemingly going in the favor for Ragnarok rather decisively here. Just got to be careful of those snipes. The snipes are going to be coming in here. The volley of the Broodlords going to the Thors first. So a couple of snipes are being able to plan there. And again, it's still too much. It's still too many. GG is called. Ragnarok takes game number 7. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the entire series going his favor.